Omicron, Omicron, Omicron. The new COVID-19 variant dubbed Omicron has now officially begun canceling cruises. We're going to give you the full scoop coming up in today's episode. Plus, Carnival Cruise Line has been slowly increasing capacity on board their cruise ships, and now their brand ambassador John Heald is letting us see behind the curtain a little bit more into some plans going on at Carnival Cruise Lines. Well, I've said it for a while now, vaccine mandate requirements were coming on most major cruise lines in the US to children aged 5 and 11 now that they're eligible for the COVID vaccine. And yet another US cruise line has now announced that the mandate will be going into effect. We'll tell you who it is coming up. And yesterday, Carnival Cruise Line announced that they'll be extending their testing at the Pier program through the end of the year. All this coming up on Midships. Hey, welcome to the Midships YouTube channel. I'm your Captain Corey, and thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. It means so much to have you guys back here each and every day, and I've got some really good news because tomorrow morning I am hopping on a flight to Galveston, Texas, and I'll be boarding Adventure of the Seas. That's a Royal Caribbean ship, if you're not familiar, and guess what? I got great news yesterday after filming the Midships episode. Not sure if you can see this, but there we go. I have once again tested negative for COVID-19, so I have everything I need to go ahead and board Adventure of the Seas tomorrow. Now, the only thing I'm waiting on is if my royal upbid is going to come through for a beautiful ocean view balcony that I've had my eyes on for quite some time. Now, if you haven't cruised on Royal Caribbean since the restart and you're planning on going on a Royal Caribbean cruise, I do have one quick insider tip before we get into today's cruise news that I want to share with you. And that is that as soon as you get on board the ship, the very second you get on board, go ahead and find a nice comfy chair and connect to the ship's Wi-Fi and go ahead and open the Royal Caribbean app on your phone. Once you're inside the app, you want to immediately book any specialty dining or any onboard experiences like the North Star or the Flow Rider immediately as soon as you get on board the ship. As a result of COVID and social distancing and the new requirements going on board cruise ships, Royal Caribbean doesn't have as many slots open to do a lot of these activities and specialty dining like they used to. So Royal Caribbean sailors, make sure you go ahead and get things booked as soon as possible. Now, since I'll be doing tons of traveling and boarding Adventure of the Seas tomorrow, I'm not sure if we're going to have a full Midships episode for you like I would really like to get out. However, I'd really like to hear from you in the comments below. Would you be interested in me doing a live stream of the sail away on Adventure of the Seas? If that's something you're interested in, go ahead and post it down in the comments below. Now let's hop into the cruise news, and since Royal Caribbean's on the mind, let's go ahead and hop into a story from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com by author Matt Hochberg. Celebrity Cruises adds a requirement for children 5 years and older to be fully vaccinated. Celebrity Cruises announced on Tuesday it will require children 5 years and older to be fully vaccinated in order to go on board their ships. In an update to travel agents, Celebrity Cruises Senior Vice President of Sales, Donda Ritzenthaler, announced the policy changes that affects guests between age 5 and 12 years old. The policy goes into effect February 1st of 2022, and it will require all guests aged 5 and older to be fully vaccinated. At that time, unvaccinated children between the ages of 2 and 4 years old will be required to bring a negative antigen or PCR test conducted within 3 days of boarding as well. And something to keep in mind is that Royal Caribbean owns Celebrity Cruises, but as of this recording, there have been no changes to Royal Caribbean's policy for vaccinations for children under the age of 11. Now, with that said, this is about the third cruise line in the US that's made this announcement, so I would expect somebody like a Royal Caribbean or a Carnival in the coming weeks or months to go ahead and start considering putting in this type of mandate for children aged 5 to 11. Before we hop into our next cruise news story, I want to remind you that down in the description below this video, there are Amazon affiliate links to some cruise swag items that I use on every single cruise that I take, and I take quite a few cruises. Things like this passport holder that also doubles as your COVID card insert holder. So right here, bang, all I have to do when I embark on a cruise ship, I can whip all of these things out and I am good to go. No muss, no fumbling around. So go ahead and check out some of those affiliate links in the description below, and even clicking on the link does benefit the channel just a little bit. Thanks so much for your support. Carnival Cruise Line has been recently upping and upping and upping how many people they're allowing on board their cruise ships. Now their brand ambassador, John Heald, is weighing in on the new policies, so let's go ahead and hear what John had to say. From cruiseradio.net by Richard Sims, Carnival Cruise Line's John Heald on increased capacity, Pier-Side testing, football, and more. Given how quickly things change in the current cruise environment, it's easy to miss some of the news coming down the pike, especially during the holidays. And that sounds like a perfect time to remind you to subscribe to this channel and make sure your bell notifications are turned on. While you're down there, do me a huge favor and slam that thumbs up button if you can't wait to get on board your next cruise. Now, with that in mind, we've gathered up a slew of Carnival Cruise Line updates that have come from the company's brand ambassador, John Heald, in the recent days. And here is a photo of John Heald here with the Carnival Cruise Line president, Christine Duffy. I know it's kind of hard to tell who people are behind the face masks. So, among the bits of information Heald has passed along from what he calls the beards, aka the corporate executives at Carnival, have been tidbits about everything from capacity increases to why certain football games aren't shown on board Carnival ships. So let's go ahead and address the Carnival capacity increasing. In a quote from Heald, he says, "We sailed with more guests on each ship than we have so far. We upped the capacity a little bit as well." Heald went on to say that he believes Carnival is certainly not sailing full enough though, and that he would much rather see full capacity. And I've been hearing rumblings that my sailing on board Carnival Mardi Gras on December 11th may see capacities at upwards of 85%, so that's going to be a pretty busy cruise ship. I know that Odyssey of the Seas was the first time I ever had to wait in line to get a table at the Windjammer buffet or any lunch buffet on any cruise ship thus far, and I've taken 5 cruises since the restart of cruising. But all in all, increased capacities are a good thing overall because that means cruising keeps taking steps to get back to a little bit more normalcy. Now, speaking of Carnival Cruise Line, I showed you a letter that they emailed out yesterday about an extension to the Pier-Side testing they're offering for people who weren't able to complete their COVID testing prior to their embarkation. Well, let's learn a little bit more about what's going on with that from cruiseindustrynews.com. Carnival Cruise Line extends Homeport COVID tests through year's end. Carnival Cruise Line has extended the availability of coronavirus testing at its home ports through the end of December of 2021. This was announced in a Facebook post as well as an email that went out yesterday. The tests are available to vaccinated guests only sailing from the following ports: Galveston, Baltimore, New Orleans, Long Beach, Miami, Port Canaveral, as well as Port Tampa Bay. Appointments must be made online and are non-refundable, and the price is $100 per person per test. Carnival's brand ambassador John Heald asks that Carnival guests use the Homeport testing services as a last-ditch effort if they've exhausted all other options. And it's important to know that if you do make a reservation for one of these tests through Carnival, at least through the end of December, it is completely non-refundable. Even if you don't use the test, even if you try to cancel it, you're going to pay that $100 per test. So this seems like as good of a time as any to remind you that you should definitely be doing the Abbott Binax Now home testing kits pre-embarkation for your cruises. Unless something changes, this will be the only way that I test for every cruise I take. Going forward, these are so simple, and the prices are a quarter that of what Carnival's charging at the pier. Now, a few days ago, we started talking about the new coronavirus variant dubbed Omicron, and now Omicron has officially begun affecting cruises. Let's go ahead and learn a little bit more from cruisecritic.com. By Aaron Saunders. New Omicron COVID variant affects international travel and cruises in Africa. The new strain, dubbed Omicron by the World Health Organization, is reportedly more transmissible than the Delta variant of COVID-19 that caused no small amount of concern for cruisers and travelers over the summer of this year. According to the WHO, cases in South Africa have peaked rapidly in successive days, particularly in the areas surrounding Johannesburg. Since Friday, cases have been detected in other countries, including Hong Kong, Belgium, and the UK. Countries that have closed their borders to all international travel, including vaccinated tourists, range from Israel, Japan, to the Philippines. Many of the countries that have closed borders, however, are not currently where cruises are taking place. So at this point, you might be asking yourself, what impact might the new Omicron variant have on my cruise. And by my cruise, I mean your cruise. So I'm going to go ahead and spitball my opinion before we hop into the Cruise Critic article. From my research that I've done, yes, Omicron seems to be more transmissible, but it also seems to be a little bit less harsh on people that come down with it. So obviously with a new variant, the science is still up in the air as to what's going to happen. So in my opinion, at this point, unless your cruise was scheduled to call in South Africa, or you live or have recently traveled to South Africa, I don't think Omicron is something that you really need to worry about quite yet at this point. Again, remember the Delta variant, which we saw come out in the summer, which seems to have been way more deadly than what we've heard from Omicron. At least at this point, we've been able to safely continue cruising despite the Delta variant. So I don't see any reason as of yet as to why Omicron is going to be much different. So currently, several cruise lines stand to be impacted by the discovery of the Omicron variant. On November 30th, Norwegian Cruise Line announced it will be canceling 5 voyages aboard the Norwegian Jade, departing from September 3rd all the way through January 26th of next year in response to the new variant. Norwegian was scheduled to deploy the Jade on a season of South African sailings from Cape Town, beginning with a Christmas and New Year's voyage, departing December 21st. Now, there are a few cruise lines that are scheduled to continue on sailing from South Africa, and those include Azamara, who will be sailing the Azamara Pursuit from Cape Town in January, along with MSC Cruises, which has long maintained a seasonal presence in the region. So it really does seem like every few months we're going to hear about yet another variant coming down the pike. It has you start to wonder, is this going to become more of a seasonal flu in the future? Only time will tell what Omicron has in store. If you made it this far into today's episode, why haven't you subscribed to the channel yet? As a reminder, all of the articles referenced in today's episode are linked down in my description box below. While you're down there, make sure your bell notifications are on and you've hit the thumbs up button on this video. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today. And until tomorrow, when I board Adventure of the Seas, we'll see ya on the Midships.